social care for the money. There is no money. You work minimum wage. It's incredibly demanding. There's no real upward trajectory short of working in social care for, say, 15, 20 years, starting your own care agency. And even then, you're not going to be making money for a while with that. There's a couple of venture capital firms, but they make money wherever they can. If you're on the ground, if you're using our service, you did not get into social care for money. You got into social care generally for one of two reasons. Either you were already caring for someone and not getting paid, a family member, a friend, or you have experienced social care tangentially in your life. So a family member or a friend may have been cared for, and you recognized the value, the importance that social care can do for a community. And that's how you become involved. These are not people who are in it for the money. They couldn't be more passionate about what they do. And we knew we had to reflect those ideals if we wanted to be successful within the sector, if we wanted to continue to provide these people with the services that would help them do their job the best, but also to be trusted. So we set about codifying those ideals that we felt had already made us successful to a point, but better understand them and better facilitate our growth where we could continue to cultivate them. So that led to us talking with both our staff internally and also with all of our clients at the time to try and work out what those values were and really zero in on them. And this took this was a few months of people talking, coming to understand. People would pitch their own little ideas. And it wasn't just about settling on 5 buzzwords we could sell to people, because we don't really sell this kind of stuff outside of this conversation, obviously. This was about how do we make sure we retain our culture and we continue to help it grow without losing sight of what we are. And it really came down to 2 major things as well, which is in our sector, trust is absolutely essential, more so than anywhere else. And reliability is currency. If you are not reliable, then people die. It's a rostering software for us and financial software. If you mess up those rosters, people won't get their care. They will wind up separated from society, and bad things will happen. So move on to our goals and objectives. So we had our 5 core values. What we're really hoping to achieve, say this is about 2 years ago to a year and a half ago when we really started to put this into practice. So we had 3 main goals and objectives. The first one was to build our authority within the sector. Now this means both through content, producing stuff that was relevant, but also producing stuff that could really champion the causes of the sector. So we've done different kinds of things. We produced a white paper last year and currently working on another one this year, which is just a home care sector report. So everything looking at it, what are the challenges, what's coming up in the future. We've also conducted interviews with leading figures within the sector. So people like Dr. Jane Townsend, who's the CEO of UKHCA, or her Scottish counterpart, Dr. Donald Macaskill. And we give them a platform to talk. And we really try to champion those causes. Specifically, Dr. Townsend has been somewhat of a firebrand going after the government for their failures to help out social care. So we try to give them a way to talk, not say their message for them, but just help spread it. And with that, we wanted to build our authority because people would look to us as being those people genuinely care about the sector. They produce relevant content that is useful and applicable. We also produce things like we did a guide for mental health support apps just a few weeks ago for people working in the care sector. And we're currently putting together talks because right now there's a big fear about PTSD, producing relevant and applicable content to build our authority within the sector. Secondly, and that would be built on the integrity of the work we do and the quality of the research and the work we put into it. So those 2 core values coming to the fore there. Secondly, it was to apply an infrastructure to our company. We were a small company, and it was kind of an amorphous blob of people getting the job done. So you'd look over your shoulder, you'd ask for help. There wasn't really departments. People were coming together, we were all working together, but we needed to put more of an infrastructure. We needed to create somewhere for infrastructure for people to work through and to better facilitate our growth. So that was our second one. That would be built in our professionalism. And our third, and this was the paramount one, in doing that, in facilitating company growth, we could not lose sight of our personal touch. We had to work out how to scale personal touch. And that was the biggest challenge and the most important one to us. And we did that through our teamwork, leaning on each other, and through our empathy, speaking with our clients. So I'd just like to take a moment now through our planning and implementation to try and show you how they're not just empty buzzwords. So how do we come to integrity? Integrity, we decided, was doing the right thing when no one is looking. And that was just the simplest way we could put it forward. It means our sales never miss out. If you ask us a question that we can't do something, we are honest with you up front, because you can kind of get away with trying to sugarcoat something. But if we sugarcoat something and then they go to use it and it's not there how they thought it would be there, that is a huge detriment to that company. And again, this is people's health. This is people's freedom and liberty. So we cannot try and over-egg the pudding in any way. We have to be truthful. We have to be very honest. And we'll go through the benefits of all these later. Quality. This came to improving the standards, both our content, which I spoke about, and our staff. So we invest in our staff. If there's training people want to do, if there are particular avenues they want to pursue, we absolutely support them in that. We try to drive them forward. Then we have empathy, which is actually based on a little slogan we have in our company that I took from a hip hop legend, DMX, which is X gets a lot of love because X gives a lot of love. And simply put, you get what you put out there. And that's from the top. So while again, that whole treat people how you want to be treated can seem like empty buzzword, it's not. From the top, our leaders took this on. It's okay to not be okay. They were the ones who showed that they weren't okay sometimes. And that bled down to our staff because you could see the truth and the honesty in that empathy. And that bled out to our clients. Or that was the goal, and it was successful, as I'll talk about later. Professionalism is, again, it was just about applying that structure. It was also about, as we built up that structure, where do we get those department heads? We like to think of ourselves as a meritocracy. We promote internally wherever we can. So as we built that infrastructure, developed different departments and moved people up into the leadership of those departments, only one person was an external hire. The other three were all internal promotions. And finally, teamwork, just feeling supported and championed. And it's the same with the quality and giving people the investment in them to go and do training. We celebrate that. When we were announced as a finalist, people were really happy for me because I'd written our application. But it's not just that. We have people working in the dev site if they come on something new. Support accounts, it's all designed so that we're together and we champion our successes and we share the more depressing moments and get through them. So stakeholder engagement. Okay. So stakeholder engagement is primarily, we're not VC backed. There is no venture capital behind us. So we were just a few people who came together and tried to start a business. So our clients and our staff are our stakeholders. So how do we always make sure we engage with them? Well, there's the investment in our staff, which I've touched on. When it comes to our clients, we handle the most private data you could have. It's not just your data about your health. It's your data about the things your health doesn't do for you anymore, your weaknesses, things you'd be the most embarrassed about. And we have to protect that. So we have incredibly stringent GDPR policies, as well as training when people come in and reinforcement programs over the months to make sure that they absolutely know exactly what they're doing so we can protect that information. And then we also have dev requests where we develop our services in collaboration with our clients. So if there's a feature that they're looking for, they don't quite have, we have a way for people to apply that. And that shapes how we grow. The kind of features we bring to the fore, the kind of ones we develop are ones that we have learned from our clients they need in the sector. And that's something, again, that was highlighted and not defined by COVID, because when that first hit, immediately we were, how can we use existing functions within the system to help people deal with this? So the diary function became somewhat of a COVID tracker, just as a little example. So I'm aware I'm running out of time. Innovation and creativity. Okay, so this comes down to our championing of the sector, and I'll just immediately talk about the policy rather than rambling on. We had a thing called 12 Carers of Christmas. We had all of our clients collect stories they had from carers, because we wanted to tell those stories and celebrate them. We had them send them in to us, and we collected the 12 best, and we released them one day, or in the 12 days before Christmas, one day at a time. We told their story, we had a photo, and because we picked them a week or two earlier, we sent them an Amazon gift voucher for Christmas. That was all about celebrating and lifting up the sector and really sharing with the world all the good work they do year round and showing them some appreciation, which is something we have since seen. I would call it an innovation because we've seen it replicated by the UK HCA, who I've talked about, by one of our colleagues in the sector, another company called Every Life Pass, by a lot of individual care companies to try and really raise the morale of the sector by telling their stories, by championing them. We were doing that before COVID. And since then, we have helped and we've always supported the people who are starting to do it now, especially the major organizations. Because again, none of this has been shaped by COVID. It's all been highlighted. So finally, just to go through the impacts and benefits.
Just 3 minutes left, Logan. Okay, 3 minutes left.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Okay, that's great. I thought I was out of time. Okay, so I'll go through the impacts and benefits. First off, what is the impact and benefit of trying to enshrine integrity? It's pretty obvious. We're always honest with people, even when we have bad news, which gives us leeway when we don't have a solution immediately. Reliability is currency, and we have always striven to be as reliable as possible so that when they call in and they say, I need help with X, or is it possible for you to do this? And our answer is, this is going to take us a few days, or you're going to have to trust us on this. They do. And that integrity then spreads out. Like I mentioned earlier as well, word of mouth is everything in this sector. And that is something that helps us spread. We have very committed client base, despite the fact that we have non-committal contracts. Most of the other services offered in this sector are done on 12-month contracts. Ours is a 30-day rolling one, 90 days initially, and then 30 days afterwards. And that's because we believe that if at any point we are no longer the right choice for you, you should be able to leave. And because the service they provide is so vital, that's not something that you can really hold them to. It's not like I'm making you pay for TV. I'm making you pay for your grandfather's ability to stay a part of his local community. So we have to operate with integrity on that front and truly reflect the values of the people in social care, why they got into it, in the services we provide to social care. It has to be about people. Quality, the investment in our staff has been fantastic for us. Like I said earlier, with the internal promotions and the meritocratic system we were able to set up, some of the tangible benefits of that, accounts through going to trade shows, through meeting people, through going to seminars on social care. I've come to understand the world in which they operate more. They understand, say, the standards of the CQC, the challenges of providing care, and they're able to be more empathetic. They're able to relate more with the people and provide better, more accurate advice for them. Same on our support side. We had one support person who was quite interested in coding, and our system is currently being rebuilt in API. So he went off and we paid for him to go and do a little bit of course in coding. And now when a more technical support question comes in, so something not directly related or not related to the system as it's used or it's functional, but actually something underneath, like in the coding, it's directed towards him. And he's able to work more closely with our dev team and then also our support team. And he's become that bridge between them. And we're very grateful for that, for investing in him. We also had somebody on that dev team who's the one person in our whole company using Java. And we built it out. He went to a course, came back, he's worked on it for like 6 months. And now he's one of the people who's moved up. And we have now 3 people working under him who all use Java. And that's what we get when we invest in the quality of our team and the way it comes back to us. Professionalism. A big thing about our professionalism was establishing that structure, making sure that we had these 5 core values codified in so that people coming in would learn how we operate. But we also hired for culture over experience. So it would be grand if you had 10 years of experience, but you just did not mesh with the people who are in your interviews. That would be your team leader, the CD or the OD, depending on which office you were starting in. And then HR. If you didn't really mesh, then we just recognized we're not going to get the high quality of work out. So we would rather take a gamble on a 20-year-old who really seems like they actually care, or somebody who's just come out of the care for, so they haven't worked in like this side of a business before. They've been a care worker for 10 years and they really know what they're talking about. Over, say, someone who's had experience working in marketing, or over somebody who's had experience working in a support department. And we really think that helped because we have retained our customer experience despite our company doubling in size in the last 2 years, both in staff and in client base. We have doubled in size, which I have on a nice slide. You'll just have to trust me. And
you're Logan, just to know, your 15 minutes is up. So if you just want to finish off what you're saying there, yeah?
That's fine. So I just had a little bit of proof for how that has been effective. I had a bunch of Trustpilot reviews. They all name people. Obviously, this is on the slide. They all name people, and that just shows, and some of them are recent hires. So it shows that not only was the culture before cultivating that kind of thing, but the people who've come in have been able to successfully do it. And then finally, teamwork just being the lifeblood of our company. And then I have the stats and the figures to show we have doubled in size. So
excellent. Really good. Well, Ken, thanks for an excellent presentation.